Ocean Falls is a small pocket in the mountains, 520 kilometers up the coast from Vancouver. You can't get here by road, and once you are here, you can't go anywhere else unless you own a boat. Crown Zellerback, the American paper company, owned the whole town, the mill, the dam, the houses. And when they decided to pull out in 1973, everyone thought it meant the death of Ocean Falls.
The guys from the mill, like, they were ordered to burn, you know, any houses that were empty. They burnt a whole road all the way up there. People saw their homes go up in flames. I saw my house go up in flames. It scared me. You know, it was my home. I hadn't lived anywhere else. I knew every rock, whose footstep that was, type of thing. And when they go around burning buildings, you know, it scares you. Like, what would you think if they went around burning Vancouver? And the wreck right here, a friend of mine, Peter Megan, he used to live here. And down a bit was Kelly's house.
Because every job depended on Crown Zellerback, Michelle Mueller's family prepared to leave the town that had been their home for 17 years.
Oh, this place was really populated. I mean, it used to have something like 3,000 people in it. Now it's only got 1,500, or not even that maybe. But it used to be really good. It used to be a really active town.
Everybody went swimming. Everybody. The pool was literally alive. Kids jumping in, playing, running, screaming. People found it hard to believe. They decided to phase Ocean Falls out and shut down the mill. They thought it would always be there, the mill.
Okay, I remember when Ocean Falls was going to shut down. There was 40 people left working in the mill, and all our furniture was in the warehouse. Had just what we needed, our beds. Well, most of my friends had gone. They'd moved. I was prepared to leave. Not that I wanted to, but really couldn't stop it.
But the town didn't die. At the 11th hour, Dave Barrett's NDP government paid $1 million to Crown Zellerback, took over the mill and the town, and established the Ocean Falls Corporation.
I think if the government had come in earlier, a lot more people would have stayed.
Five months after startup, people were sure once more that the town would close. The Social Credit Party had been against keeping Ocean Falls open, and in August of '73, they defeated the NDP in a provincial election. But 4 years later, in the summer of 1977, the town is still here to celebrate its 59th July the 1st in the pouring rain.
Take it off the heat, Willie, and turn it over. Come on, Willie. Turn, Willie, turn. Just flip it, don't worry. Just tongue this. You're not cooking in the gourmet, the galloping gourmet now. Ah, Bruce, you gotta be kidding. No hands. No hands. Eat. That's enough. That's good. Come on!
noise here a lot, but it grows on you. You get used to it. A lot of people call it liquid sunshine.
The change of ownership, the change of government, starting up an old mill and hiring new workers, a 3-month industry strike in '75, all affected people's thoughts about the town's future.
People were leery because, you know, here they say you can have your town back, but then they can just turn around and say, well, we changed our mind.
The future hinges on the mill because every job in town depends on its success. Ted Visak is the corporation's general manager.
Right now, the directors of the Ocean Falls Corporation have approved almost $4 million for modernization of the existing mill. I'm sure the government wouldn't approve this kind of money if they planned on shutting Ocean Falls down.
Water has always played a vital role in Ocean Falls' survival. Since the dam was built in 1917, Ocean Falls has had cheap electrical power as well as the fresh water needed for making paper. Ocean Falls used to make both pulp and many kinds of paper, enough to keep 6 paper machines and 1,400 people working. Today, 2 paper machines produce only newsprint, and the mill employs about 400 people. But with 60-year-old machinery, it takes 7 man-hours to produce 1 ton of paper. In a modern mill, it takes between 3 and 4. And with high wages, taking more time means very high costs. To increase efficiency, the corporation will replace the very old steam engines that drive the paper machines.
The main thing for Ocean Falls is we got the mill. And the main thing about the mill is the 2 paper machines. The feature attraction that I find over there is the 2 steam engines that drive the paper machines. It's a rope-driven engine. And when you're working on the engine, you're inside the engine. The rope travels overhead and comes back underneath. So you're actually inside. And when you're in there, there's things like you have to oil the engines. Like you can't shut it down, so you just do it when it's moving. And you gotta be in motion. You gotta be in time. And it's got a definite beat. It's an easy beat. It's a good beat. To see someone try and put it in when they don't know how, or myself when I was first learning, it's so awkward. It looks impossible. I've gotten so mad when I was learning how to do it, trying to get the feel of it, that I'd take the grease gun and throw it. And I'm going to miss those engines. They're almost alive. I wish they could talk.
Since before the 20s, when the first wooden houses were built, steam has been carried from the mill to heat a lot of the buildings on the town site. The steam pipe connects the individual buildings in the same way the old wooden roads connect the houses. Some of these frame houses have been standing for over 60 years.
As a fire chief, I got a pretty good record. I could burn down more houses than what I saved.
As the houses were abandoned with people leaving Ocean Falls, there was no one to take care of them. There's a limited life to a wooden house in this climate.
The reason we burnt the houses on startup was an economic one. We were trying to bring the community into a tight, compact community. We had 3,500 in the days of Crown Zellerback, and we cut the community back to around 1,500.
Ocean Falls has always been a one-industry town. The place has got to produce paper or the whole town dies. This dependence on the corporation is the cause for both comfort and complaint.
Well, this isn't really like a normal town. We don't have a mayor or an elected council or anything like that. The corporation owns everything, even our houses.
Well, the corporation must control the housing on the town site because we only have enough housing to supply accommodation for the employees in the mill and the essential services on the town site.
On the other hand, rents are very low. There aren't many places left in Canada where you can rent a two-bedroom apartment for just over $80 a month, including heat.
Ocean Falls has always been what they call a corporation town site. And even since the government has taken over, the Ocean Falls Corporation has filled the role of Crown Zellerback.
And Crown Zellerback took care of everything. Painting, household repairs, and general upkeep in the town. But the repairmen have to come from the mill. And, of course, the mill has first call on its workers. They hope to have a regular town site crew in the not-too-distant future. Meanwhile, those leaky taps just have to wait.
A lot of people complain, but I think a lot of people stay because of the security.
What do I think about living in Ocean Falls? I like it. I don't think it's because it's just my hometown. I think the people are friendly. You can't walk down the street in Vancouver and say hello to everyone. Everyone will look at you as if you're weird. You know, here you do it, and they, it's okay if you don't say hello, you're weird. I don't know. It's just a friendly atmosphere. I like it here. I like a small place. I don't think I could live in the city. There's too much hustle and bustle. Here you do everything at your own pace. You get it done. Not like in the city, you gotta drive a mile to go swimming or whatever. Here you just walk for 5 minutes, you're at the swimming pool, you're at the tennis court, at the bowling alley, whatever.
Really, you've got to have either somebody close that's a girl or somebody close that's a guy, because if you don't, then you hate it. If nothing else, just to sit close, just to sit beside it, and you feel that you're there with somebody, you're not here all by yourself.
But closeness can sometimes feel confining. There's one hotel, one restaurant, one movie theater. And even if you own a car, there's no place to drive to.
We're probably one of the last, one of the few remaining company towns in BC, if not Canada. I don't think people realize until they have been here for a while and get out, what an impact it has on them of being right on top of their job and so closed in 12 months of the year.
But it's not that easy to get in and out of Ocean Falls whenever you want to. Until October 1976, Northland Navigation provided weekly steamship service to coastal communities like Ocean Falls. When the federal government withdrew its financial support, Northland quit. And people in Ocean Falls lost the means to get directly to Vancouver with their cars. The small feeder ferry to Bella Bella was no substitute for Northland. You never knew when it would be in, or if it would come in at all. Tim Kendrick is the editor of the Ocean Falls Informer.
You have to go back just very briefly and realize that for about 75 years, Ocean Falls have had steamship service directly to the lower mainland right from town here. So when Northland left, it was the end of 75 years of constant service up this coast, which had enabled a place like Ocean Falls to develop.
In January 78, the Bella Bella was canceled. Tom Long is Ocean Falls representative to the West Coast Regional District.
To go and see anybody, to go and do anything whatsoever, you have to go by aircraft. You haven't got any choice. You must fly. Not everybody likes to fly. Not everybody likes to pay the money it costs to fly.
A round-trip ticket to Vancouver costs $160.
Around the spring of this year, the spring of 1977, the government announced that they were putting in a new northern ferry route to run from Sawasan to Kelsey Bay to Ocean Falls to Prince Rupert once a week. In other words, we'd have proper ferry service where we could drive cars on and off, we could drive freight vehicles on and off. So this was what we wanted.
In preparation for the coming ferry run, the Ocean Falls Corporation, the mill, is spending $1 million to install a ferry ramp. Public reaction was very positive. Little businesses started up. People started planning holidays with their cars and campers. They started planning to bring relatives in to see their hometown.
It was like getting a new lease on life. One barge that came up carried 23 new cars on, for example, that people had started to bring into town in anticipation of being able to drive out again. It was a whole new uplift in morale. It made quite a difference to the town. Employee turnover went down, and altogether it was a great thing. And then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, by a casual announcement from a BC Ferry employee, we were told that, sorry, Buster, you're only going to get it in the winter. In the summer, we need the ferry for tourists, which was a real stab in the back as far as we were concerned. It was very, very, very disappointing. I can't put it strongly enough, really.
Ocean Falls has no highway to it. The ferry is the only possible highway that we can hope for. We really need the ferry. The ferry service is for freight, for recreational purposes, for those things that you travel to any other community for. Is regular, positive. It's there to depend on. It's not something that stops because the winds are too high or it's raining too much. It's something that's, that you can depend on. It's some kind of, it's a sense of security, actually, in communicating with the outside.
The government's latest promise is that Ocean Falls will have year-round ferry service starting in October of 1978. Although in the summer, it will only go as far as Port Hardy on Vancouver Island. People have certain reservations about the way governments work.
Well, the population here, in Ocean Falls specifically, pays anywhere from $2 to $4 million a year out in taxes. And there is no evidence that there is anything being returned with the exception of possibly your school district. And we don't have a $4 million school here.
Because there are no roads, everything that people buy has to come up by barge.
You have to get down there when the boat gets in. The boat comes in Thursday, you have to be down there Friday, because by Saturday there's hardly nothing left, because everyone knows, you know, the barge only comes in once a week for food, and you better get down there and get what you want. The food's really expensive, especially the fruit like grapes. They're $1.89 a pound. You know, that's a lot.
Your produce, fresh produce, depending upon the time of the year, depending upon how the barge service is going to work, you get raunchy produce, say, coming in. Some weeks you get good stuff, and that week that's in 2 hours it's gone, eh?
Quite often during the winter we get frozen milk. If you've ever tried to drink milk after it's been frozen and defrosted, well, all it comes out is like water.
You buy one thing in the co-op and 10 other people have the same thing. So it's just no originality. So you wait till you go to Vancouver.
Did you do that?
Oh yeah, and the catalog.
Not black. Isn't there something like this here? This isn't like the same here.
Well, when you're living in the city, it's the fact that you know that if you want to do something, you can go out and do it that's important. But you know very well if you wanted to, you could go to the planetarium, or you could go to Stanley Park and sit down or whatever. And in a small town like this, you know very well you can't do those kind of things.
I think it's more the fact of knowing that you're isolated, just feeling that isolation, than the actual problems that could arise.
There have been spells mainly in January, February, when you get severe storms and cold weather. You may go up to 30 days without the airplane.
Ocean Falls has made paper for over 60 years. But there must be a market for their paper, and it must be profitable to sell it. The whole forest industry is going through tough times right now, and it's not easy to predict what the future holds.
Apart from one contract we're having difficulty with, we are sold out to the end of 1979, which is a fairly nice feeling.
Everyone says that Ocean Falls is a great place to raise a family. A pocket in the mountains can be a safe, comfortable place to grow up. You know everyone in town, and there's always somebody around if you need help. You can swim in the lake with all your friends, or you can find a stream coming into it and fish for hours by yourself. Most children eventually leave their home. A few return to raise families of their own. For others, town becomes a memory.
This is my cradle, like, you know. I haven't lived anywhere else. It shocked me when they were closing the place down, right? And there I was kind of forced to leave. Now I'm leaving willingly. I'll be sad to leave. Everybody's got to do it sometime, right? Like, I wanna give myself a chance to see what it's all about, not just Ocean Falls, but what the rest of the world's all about, too. I know I'll probably come back here for a while, for sure.
Maybe you're in the mood